Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. I'm so excited because today we are going to be doing a book review. I recently read The Alchemist and I am beyond excited to talk with you all about the true journey, which if you've read the book, you know that is such a relevant word to use for the experience of reading this book. So let's dive right into it. And spoiler, if you have not read the book and you want to read it, this will be a dive into what this book is about. This is a book where even hearing what it's about, it's truly reading it that is going to give you everything that you need from it. But let's get into it. All right, so I read The Alchemist, and reading it at this time was so special to me because this book has been recommended to me multiple times in the last 3 to 5 years, like literally at least 3 times has this book been recommended to me. I actually have attempted to read it twice. Something about it previously, I could not get into the story of it. And I really do believe deeply that we resonate with things when we are vibrating at that frequency. And so I needed this book now. I was so happy with reading this book at the time that I did. So I want to start by getting into the story. It starts out with a shepherd who's in his homeland. He's a shepherd and he's always seen the same things. He's living in a life that he's very familiar with. He's always aspired to be a shepherd, and here he is being a shepherd. It starts out with him having a reoccurring dream. So this is a dream where he would see himself traveling to the pyramids of Egypt and there was gold there for him. And he always had this dream come back to him and he didn't know how to interpret it. Even though it seems like a very straightforward dream, he wants to go to a dream interpreter so that he can discuss with her, what does this dream actually mean? Why is it telling me to go to the pyramids in Egypt? And what gold is there? Like, what can you tell me? So he goes to an interpreter, a gypsy, and she says, I don't know what this dream is, but you need to go and figure it out. And when you do, bring me back some of that. Actually, she kind of a little bit ate with that one. But she said, bring me back some of the treasure when you get there. So he's out in like a courtyard, I believe, and he's reading, and then this man comes up to him, this man who claims to be a king, and he speaks to the shepherd about this dream. Without the shepherd even bringing it up to him, this man starts talking about, you need to follow essentially what's called your personal legend. You need to follow that dream that you've been having. So the shepherd is kind of talking with him, and he's like, well, what does this dream mean? And the man's like, well, you need to go on your journey and find this. And the shepherd is like, who are you? And why, what is this right now? What is this interaction? And the king tells him, I come to people when they are essentially needing help along the path in their journey, or like people are on their personal legend, which I want to stop and talk about what a personal legend is in this book. Personal legend is essentially what we would call probably a life purpose. It's the journey that you need to go on in your life to feel fulfilled and what you feel like your purpose in life is, or what your mission at the time or in life is. So the shepherd decides he's going to go on this journey to attain the treasure that's in the pyramids of Egypt. He sells the things of his life of being a shepherd and he goes on his journey, which I do want to stop there and kind of break it down because there's just so much here. I really wanted to emphasize the relatable feeling of, first of all, having a dream or having something that is constantly in your mind. And I love that this book talked about it so intimately. As we get deeper into it, we will really see, or as you read it, you will see how they break down this common experience that every one of us has as humans, as souls living this life on earth, which is having a idea or a dream that is constantly in your mind of something that you want to do. So maybe it's like, I've always wanted to be a singer, or I've always wanted to help kids, whatever it is that you've always had inside of you. That's a common experience that we have as humans because that's a part of our journey here and that's a part of our purpose here. It is our purpose. And I thought it was so relatable, the fact that he had this reoccurring dream. It's a very straightforward dream. You need to go to Egypt and you need that your treasure will be there. But he felt the need to go to someone to say, okay, well, what does this mean? Should I actually do, like, the needing permission or validation to actually do it? That was so relatable to me, because I feel like throughout my life, I've had many, inklings or dreams, or I mean, now as I am today, I see that they've always been connected as in one purpose that I'm very clear on now. But there's always been times where I've been like, well, I have this deep desire to do this thing, but I'm going to this person and talking to this person instead of just going. So I thought that was so relatable. Back to the story. The shepherd goes on his journey, and while he's on his journey, he stops at a market. And when he's at this market, he's already realizing that he's seeing things that he's never encountered as a shepherd before. Like, in his day-to-day life, he never was seeing like the hustle and bustle and the trading and all of the things that people are doing inside of this lively center. He's always just known being quiet in the pastures, protecting his sheep. And so he's having this new experience, and he sits down to have a drink, and he meets someone who he's talking to beside him, and he's like, I'm on this journey right now to achieve this dream that I have, and this dream that's telling me to go to Egypt. And this person says, I can take you on this journey. Actually, I can take you exactly to Egypt. I know exactly where you need to go. So he's on this journey with this man who he's met. And the man is like, okay, well, we're going to need money for this or whatever. And as he's on this journey, one morning, he feels in his heart that he's like, this man just robbed me. Like, I feel like I'm going to turn around and this man is not going to be here. And so he looks back, and the man who's supposed to be taking him to his dream robbed him, took the little bit of money that he had even going into the journey, and left. So now he's here, and he's like, okay, this was unforeseen circumstances on my journey. I needed those things to get to where I was going, and he was supposed to lead me. I don't even know how to get there. So what do I do now? He went to it was a store where they sold glass, I believe. And he goes in there, and he's just like, I'm on my journey to my dream. I just got robbed. I'm trying to go to Egypt, to see the pyramids, all of these things. And, in the midst of this happening too, we see him contemplating, like, should I just turn around? Like, what do I do now? I don't have money. The only way I know how to make money is to shepherd. I guess I could try to shepherd here, but like, if I go back to town, I could maybe, he's just thinking through what he's gonna do, because he doesn't see how he's gonna continue on this journey. And the merchant tells him, you want to get to the pyramids, you can make a pyramid in your backyard. Like, essentially, what's so special about the pyramids? You're traveling all this way. People don't even successfully make that journey. So you're traveling all this way for things that you could make in your own backyard. Essentially, it's not special. It's nothing worth all of the effort that you're putting in, is the message that he gave him. And we see the shepherd being discouraged and feeling like, okay, you know what? Can I just work here? Essentially, I have to make money, so I'm just going to work here, and really doubts and kind of puts down his goal of going to on his personal legend and continuing on in that journey, because now not only have you ran into an obstacle, but you've also had someone who you feel is a credible source being like, that's not even a logical thing. I don't even know who told you to do that, because that's not something that people succeed in. So that's how part 1 of the book ends. And there were a few quotes that I did want to share also just in this first part that were really worth noting for me. One of the quotes in part 1 was, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. The next quote is, I'm going to hate those who have found their treasure because I never found mine. And I'm going to hold on to what little I have because I'm too insignificant to conquer the world. This was a quote that we read while he was at the merchant. So something to add about the merchant that actually is really significant is the fact that while he was talking to the shepherd, saying essentially, you're never going to achieve that dream, he talked about dreams that he even had. The shepherd would ask him, like, why haven't you ever sold more at this shop? Why haven't you done these things? Like, if you just did these little changes, you could be seeing such wide success. And the merchant would say, if I were to do that, what if I just work too much? You know, I like my little life right now, and I feel like if I have more success, what if I just am like too successful and now I don't have time to do these things? He even talked about his own wanting to travel and across the desert, and he was talking to the shepherd saying, you know, I have this dream of going, but what if I go and it's lackluster? What if I go and it's a disappointment? And because of that, he doesn't want to go. And so we see how the merchant also shows us that side of us and that side of the people around us that is living out of fear. These are real fears of his, and the way that he has projected it onto the shepherd, so much so that now the shepherd doesn't even believe that he can go on his journey because this person has projected their fears onto them. Again, this is normal. A lot of times we're not maliciously projecting fears onto ourselves or others. We're doing it in what feels like protection of ourselves, but that doesn't mean that we should linger there. Where this quote comes in is within the book, we see how the merchant eventually, as they get closer, because this shepherd's there for probably like a year and a half, as they're talking one day, the merchant tells the shepherd, that journey that we talked about, men make that trek all the time. I do know people who have successfully made it across. He's literally dilapidating and essentially showing us that like what he first imparted on the shepherd was his own projection. And that's where he explained, obviously, that why he never wanted to go on his own journey. And then lastly, from part 1, a quote that I wanted to share is, as he mused about these things, he realized that he had to choose between thinking of himself as the poor victim of a thief and as an adventurer in quest of his treasure. I'm an adventurer looking for treasure, he said to himself. And this was another quote going back to perspective. Am I going to see myself as a victim, or am I going to acknowledge that I'm an adventurer on my quest for treasure and this is a part of it? If I'm trying at something and I get set back, am I going to see it as I'm a failure and I'm a victim of these things? Or am I going to see it as this is all a part of the journey that's getting me to where I'm going?